With the 39th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies drafted a forward out of Washington State. In his very first season, he was all-rookie first team, Rookie of the Year finalist, defensive standout, and much more before his rookie season was cut short due to a bad head and wrist injury. He is now fully recovered and ready to take on even more responsibility this next upcoming season. His name, it's Mr. Jaylen Wells. Welcome to Basketball Intuition. I'm your host, Ethan Simon. Today, we're going to be talking about Jaylen Wells and the Memphis Grizzlies. Last season, Jaylen Wells was easily one of my favorite rookies, and after the Desmond Bane trade, you can really just assume that he's going to be asked to take on a little bit more responsibility this next season. Regardless what that means or what his role ends up looking like next season, I'm sure it won't change but so much. You know you're going to get three-point shooting, you know you're going to get defense out of him, and I want to dive into all the little things today. Typically, I like to start with the playmaking and the ball handling, but we're going to start with the defense today, so we're going to go build, defense, playmaking, shooting, finishing in the paint, and then whatever else I can think of, probably Grizzlies depth chart at the end of it. Okay, so let's set the tone here. He just turned 22 years old at the end of last month in August. He played 3 years in college, 2 years at D2, 1 year at D1. The NBA Combine, he measured 6'6.5" barefoot. So if we add an extra inch for the shoes, we're looking at somewhere around 6'7". Some sites have him listed at 6'8", some have him listed at 6'7", so just know somewhere between 6'7" and 6'8". And then when we talk about his wingspan, it is 6'7.25" inch. Whenever you watch him play, you would think that it's actually longer than that, and I really did think going into this that he was going to have like a 6'9" wingspan, but he doesn't. Regardless though, he gets the job done. He uses his wingspan very well. We're going to dive into that in a minute. He was drafted somewhere around 206 pounds. I would assume that he has put on some muscle since then, so probably 210 to 215 at this point if I had to guess. Could be wrong, but I feel like that's a fairly educated guess, putting on between 4 and 9 pounds in a year. I feel like that's very fair. And then we talk about his athleticism. You throw that on top of his great measurements, we're looking at a 36-inch max vertical. He's got great speed in the open court. He moves his feet very well. And then a few fast facts for you. I mean, he seems like a very coachable guy. He's got a great attitude. Just seems like a good guy in general if you watch his interviews. And then some of the most important things is he's got great focus, energy, grit, concentration. He is so poised for his age. That is one of the things that really stood out to me. Super professional type guy on and off the court. I'm just really a fan of Jaylen Wells. Okay, so now to the defense. I feel like this is the best place to set the tone. He is a point of attack nightmare. He will pick you up full court and front you for the entire game. Some of my favorite ones where we got to see this was Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic. He does not care who you are. He will front you and get down in his stance in your face and front you all game. And like I just mentioned, he gives all the energy, the effort, and the grit. And some of his best performances where he was showing this off was against Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards that game shot 4 for 13. Curry 0 for 7 earlier in the season. I'm sure you probably heard about that already. And what did he? Mike Tomlin once said, it's not about what you're capable of doing. It's about what you're willing to do. Jaylen Wells will scratch, claw, bite, dive on the floor, whatever he's got to do to stay on the floor and to make an impact, and I just love it. How could you not? From what I heard, he wasn't even that good of a defender in college, but he's willing to do these things to get on and stay on the court, and again, I just love it. So one thing specifically about Jaylen Wells' game that I really liked a lot was his screen navigation. I felt like he navigated screens very well, high pick and rolls, off-ball screens. I felt like he did a really good job there, and the best example I can give you, again, is that game against Steph Curry. He's running around, communicating with his teammates, drawing offensive fouls, and some possessions, if he's not able to get around the screen, he's still trying to get around the screen, doing everything that he possibly can. So again, that was one thing I really wanted to highlight. His screen navigation was really great. One of the best out of all the players that I've covered on the channel. The very next thing, his anticipation. And my favorite place where we got to see this was in the passing lanes. Like I mentioned earlier, you would think that his wingspan is a little bit longer than it is, but regardless, he uses it very well. My favorite place where we got to see stuff like this is whenever he is running with his man and his back is turned to the ball handler and he's just sticking his hand out, anticipating the pass and getting deflections and steals off of stuff like that. That's that Dyson Daniels. I just made a video on Dyson Daniels, and that was one of the big things that I talked about, his anticipation. Him not even having to look at the ball handler and look at the ball, but still being able to have an idea of where that ball is coming. Obviously, it was not on as big of a sample size as Dyson Daniels, but it's something that we got to see very often. But as an on-ball defender, off-ball defender, the anticipation was there, and I really liked it a lot. Again, I heard in college that he wasn't even that good of a defender, which just shocks me because he just shows off such great defensive IQ. And then I'll just touch on this real quick. When it comes to on-ball versus off-ball defense, most of the time with Jaylen Wells, he is guarding, one of, if not the best player on the court, and he's fronting the guy that he's guarding. So a lot of the times he's not doing a whole lot as a help defender, but he is doing so much as a point of attack and as an on-ball defender that you don't care because that's what you got him on the floor for. Next thing I want to talk about is his versatility. He does a great job at getting low, for bigger or smaller guys. Like again, when he was guarding Curry, he was getting low. Whenever he's guarding bigger guys like a Julius Randle, he's getting lower. But though he kind of has a more slender build right now, I still felt like he did a really good job against those bigger guys, like against the Lakers, against LeBron, and against the Timberwolves, Julius Randle, those strong 3-4 men. Even though he was kind of smaller, I felt like he did a really good job. Good defensive technique. He's very handsy. He will put his body onto you. He's not scared to be aggressive a little bit. Obviously, if he put on a little bit more weight, which is something that I will assume he does over time, he will be better at guarding those 3-4 men. But really, if you think about his switchability, really at the minimum, he's guarding 1 through 3. Depending on who that 4 man is, he can guard 1 through 4. And for the Grizzlies, having a Swiss Army knife like him on defense is just such a great thing. You can throw him on so many different positions and so many different archetypes of players and be happy with the outcome and be okay with it. If he cooks Jaylen, okay, well, we can live with that. If Jaylen locks him up, okay, great, we can live with that. A few more things I wanted to know. Whenever he was contesting jump shots, I thought he took really good angles when he was contesting those. And then also, whenever he was matched up with like a Jalen Green type, a guy who's super athletic, that can shoot the basketball, but also can get to the rim, that's where he was kind of getting some trouble as a defender. But on the other side, whenever he was playing like a Devin Booker, he didn't have to worry about Devin trying to get to the basket as much, so he was able to really lock in and be more focused on where and when Devin was trying to shoot his jump shots. But again, whenever he was matched up against Jalen Green, super athletic, can shoot the ball, get to the basket, that's where he was getting a little more trouble. How Anthony Edwards was able to score against him is, I'll put it up on the screen. Jaylen Wells would be pressing into his body. Anthony Edwards was recognized that, step back from him, and then do a large burst of speed behind his back. And that's how he was able to create separation between the two of them. But you got to live with stuff like that sometimes. For such a young player with such a slender body, like, he's just going to keep getting better. And that's really all I had to talk about for the defensive side of stuff. I'm sure there's more we could talk about, but those were the things that I really wanted to highlight. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you already know that Jaylen Wells is a good defender. Very last thing in this section, it's not really defense, but it kind of plays into it. People play defense and rebounding together. For his size, I was really happy with the rebounding. I feel like there were games where he was super engaged and focused on the offensive glass and the defensive glass. He was in the 69th percentile in offensive rebounding percentage. For a smaller wing like himself is really great. He averaged 2.3 defensive rebounds a game and 1.1 offensive rebounds a game. So I did want to mention that real quick. We're not going to spend much time on that. Hey there, friends. If you're still here and enjoying the video, make sure to hit that like button. Now let's get over to the playmaking and the ball handling side of things. There's not a whole lot for us to talk about over here because he is not ball handling a whole lot. He's not out here trying to make plays and play make, but I did want to mention off the rip that in interviews he has mentioned that two of the main things that he is working on as a player trying to grow in is number one, his playmaking, and number two, his shot creation. And those were really two of the main things offensively that you want to see him grow from. So I'm really glad that he addressed that and that they are probably actively addressing that, trying to grow these things on a daily basis. I will start by saying that he is a low turnover guy, something I really liked a lot. 78th percentile in turnover percentage, 9%, only 0.9 turnovers a game. Again, he's not ball handling but so much, but still, regardless, there are guys that don't ball handle a lot that still average more turnovers than he does. So we'll start with the playmaking before we get to the ball handling. I will say one thing that I did like was just the fact that he is a very willing passer. He's not out here chucking up all these threes and not taking good shots. He's making the extra passes, making the right passes. Sometimes I felt like he was a little bit too willing, and sometimes I really wish that he would put the ball on the floor and try and score more. But as a rookie, I wasn't upset about that. Later down the line, maybe 3-4 years down the line, if he's not trying to take guys off the dribble more, then I would be upset about it. But I like the willingness to pass right now. He understands his role. He has solid vision. It's nothing crazy, but in the drive and kick situations, I felt like it was really good. He can make some nice passes to the corners, long skip passes across the defense to the corners. The very best place where we got to see his passing shown off was those quick little bounce passes to the cutters, whether they were on the baseline or just driving down the lane. I thought he did a great job taking tough angles, getting it in between tight spaces of the defense, making really crisp passes. And that was the place where I felt like his playmaking was the best and where his passing was the best. If you were to be bored and go watch all of his assists from last season, which is something that I did do, in fact, a lot of his assists and playmaking was him trying to drive to the basket, picking up his dribble, and then just making a nice pass out of it. It wasn't really him creating for other people. It was more or less just him trying to create for himself, realizing it's not there, and then just kicking it out to somebody else that's open. You know, which I guess you could say is creating for others, but it wasn't anything like it wasn't like a Trey Young. It wasn't like a Dylan Harper. But he's a wing that you really got out there for 3 and D. So like any playmaking that you get is just upside, and that's extra that you're happy with. And one of the main things about his passing that I really liked a lot and was really excited about was as the time time went on, as the season went on, I felt like he got much more confident as a passer. Being willing to make those tough bounce passes, being willing to make those long passes to the corners and stuff like that. So I love that. Just growing the confidence as a passer. That's something, again, that he knows that he needs to work on and something that he's actively working on. So I was really happy about that. That's enough playmaking. There's only but so much for us to talk about there. I don't typically mention how many assists a guy averages a game, but he averaged 1.7 assists a game. But how many assists he had in a game and how many assists he averaged is not as important as these other things. I'm going to start right here. And I'm going to put a certain play up on the screen where he had Luka Doncic guarding him and then he drew a foul. This kind of stuff happened and is going to continue to happen a lot if he is not a really confident shot creator. What teams are going to do is, for example, this Luka example, he was guarding Luka. So what do the Lakers do? The Lakers are just going to have Luka guard Jaylen Wells because they know, for the most part, he's just going to be sitting in the corner trying to catch and shoot threes. Teams are going to try and hide their offensive stars on him because they understand that he's not that much of a threat offensively, and they're able to just take somewhat of a break. So if Jaylen Wells could become an above average shot creator and a really confident shot creator to take these matchups that are almost kind of disrespectful and take them off the dribble and score points off of it, it's going to add layers. Then that offensive player isn't getting a break. They're not exerting all this energy on the offensive side and then relaxing on defense. So that was one thing that I really wanted to hone in on for a second. That's something that people overlook sometimes, and Jaylen Wells has shown some really great flashes of a shot creator. Now, it's nothing crazy. It's not like we expect him to become Kevin Durant, but the step back was something that was really intriguing to me. I thought the step back was really nice. He's got a nice behind the back. The in and out move I thought looked really good sometimes, giving him a little bit of separation to get his shot off. And just the stuff like that he already is doing, but if he's able to take the volume of which he is doing that up, I'm just going to be even more confident as Jaylen Wells as a basketball player on both sides of the floor. And the last thing with the ball handling I wanted to mention is his bag is very solid. He's got the bag. He's got the moves. He's got the ideas. His handle just needs to get tightened up, especially on the left side. I'm not saying that it's really bad or anything like that. It's not like some guys that really just can't dribble with their left hand. He absolutely can dribble with his left hand, but I'm just saying it's a little bit looser than the right hand, as most people are. So I just wanted to point that out. So again, he's got the bag, he's got the ideas. I just want to see him tighten up his handle a little bit, get it a little bit faster and more crisp and more precise. And then whenever you do that with more confidence offensively, then we're really going to be rolling on the offensive side with Jaylen Wells when it comes to shot creation. Now, let's take this opportunity to go over to the shooting side of things, because this is one of the biggest things that you're drafting for and one of the biggest things that you have him on the floor for. Something I feel like that has gone, kind of underrated is his jump shot mechanics look really, really good. The elbow is tight in. The shot looks almost the same every single time. He's got a really quick trigger, especially on that catch and shoot. It's really one motion, which I just absolutely love. There's no hitch. There's no major dip or anything like that. Like, the jump shot looks really, really good. He gets elevation. He jumps off the floor. Like, again, the jump shot looks great. Where we got to see his jump shot mechanics most effectively was at the free throw line. He shot 82% from the free throw line as a rookie. That was something I was super excited about. If we go back to college, his Washington State years, he shot 81% from the free throw line. It's something that Jaylen Wells is going to do. He's got great jump shot mechanics, and that's where you get to show that off as a free throw line. Okay, so now we're going to go through a bunch of numbers when it comes to his jump shooting and stuff like that. So let's get into those. So overall from 3, on 5 attempts a game, it was 35%. Also, on 4.2 attempts per, he shot 35% on catch and shoot threes. For a rookie, really great. We'll take that. Okay, now where is he shooting these from? He shot 238 threes from above the break and 154 from the corners. So he is shooting more above the break than he is from the corners. But when we look at the percentages from these places, he shot 36% total from the corners, 35% from the left corner, 39% from the right corner, 35.5% above the break. Now listen to this. Each one of the last 6 videos I've made, the player shoots really good from one corner or really bad from the other corner. And they shoot really good from the corners or bad above the break, or good above the break, bad from the corners. I love the fact that it's consistent all the way around. He's not trash from the corners and good from above the break, or vice versa. And I really, really like that a lot. That is something really important to me, because it's really rare that we see that out of young players. I really want to highlight that. I want you to understand that's really great. Now, another thing that is really important to me that caught my eye was I look at the percentages. I see that he's shooting 37% on pull-up threes. Now, of course, you understand that it's on low volume. He only shot 54 attempts, but 37% on pull-up threes is great. And then I'm watching him play, and then I'm seeing a lot of one dribble pull-ups. So I look to see if there's a percentage, and guess what? I find a percentage. On one dribble pull-up threes, Jaylen Wells shot 45.5%. Are you hearing me? I don't know if you just heard me or not. 45% on one dribble pull-up threes. Ethan, you're crazy. No, I'm not. Let's take a look right down here. So this is what I was talking about earlier, all the percentages I just showed you on the catch and shoot, the pull-up threes. I'll put it on the total so you can understand that, yes, it is low volume, but one dribble threes, which implies that it is a pull-up three, one dribble pull-up threes, 45%. Regardless on how low volume it is, it's something that caught my eye visibly watching him play, seeing him shoot good on these one dribble pull-up threes, being like, whoa. And then the stats backing it up, I was like, whoa, that is really great. And that's something I really wanted to highlight today. Again, low volume, you can take it however you want. You could do what you want with this information, but I figured I could at least give it to you. Now, my favorite thing about his shot creation on the three-point line is that step back. It's something we didn't get to see a whole lot, only maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the season, him hitting a really tough step back. But whenever he did hit it, it looked good, man. Now, for me, his offensive X factor, other than, him getting to the basket more, is going to be that mid-range game. He shot 43% on mid-range pull-ups. Again, that's great. He can pull up in that mid-range area, take 1-2 dribbles, pull up. He can have his back to the basket and fade it away. He can do those different things. As some guys, they can only fade it away. Some guys, they can only pull up. He's doing a little bit of both. Again, it's on very low volume, but the flashes are flashy and they're there. And if he's able to take the volume up and the efficiency, of course, can drop a little bit, I'd be so happy with it. And him being a true 3-level scorer would just add even more layers on top of his game. And the very last thing I wanted to say for the shooting side of things is the fact that he is not scared to shoot the basketball. He will shoot that basketball. And this is where we're going to transition over to the finishing side of things. But I want to look at his frequencies real quick before we get there. 55% of his shots were three-pointers. 25% of his shots were mid-ranges. You do a quick little math, you see that 80% of his shots are jump shots, meaning that the 20% left is him getting to the rim. I'm actively looking at it on Cleaning the Glass. I will show you on the screen. So I tell you this to say that there was only but so much for us to talk about when it comes to finishing at the rim and him finishing on the inside, because he really wasn't getting there but so often. And then we start looking at the accuracy. He shot between like 68-69% in the restricted area at the rim, which is good. But I do want to say that I feel like his touch around the rim was good for the most part, but I definitely would like to see it grow more, especially whenever he is finishing over longer defenders and stuff like that, trying to finish contested layups. Overall, he did finish through contact pretty well. He was in the 66 percentile in N1 percentage, 26%. Meaning that 26% of the time that he was fouled on a shot, he made the shot as well, which is in the upper half, which the 66 percentile tells you that. But I do just want to see him growing the touch around the rim more. But whenever it came to like him actually getting to the rim, I was really impressed. I thought his focus and concentration as a finisher was really impressive. Again, what I mentioned very, very early in the episode was how poised he was. And especially whenever he's getting downhill and scoring in the paint, he was really poised there. And my favorite place where he got to show that off was that slow step in the lane. It's not something he did every game, but it's something that he did fairly often, where we got to see him trying to get down in the lane and showing off the poise by just doing that little Luka slow step. Being able to draw contact, getting an easy shot off, or just being able to get his defender up in the air to get an easy layup. But just in general, I really like how he gets his shots off in the lane with that poise. In the half court especially, there was a possession where he was crabbing off Dame, taking hop steps, slow steps, taking good angles around the rim to protect himself, using his length to go over top of defenders with their hands down. The step throughs, all that kind of stuff. I felt like he really was able to show off some really good flashes there. And he was even able to show off a little bit of a floater game. Again, it's not something we saw every game, but the floater game is there, and that's something you want to see him continue growing, because if you put the mid-range game, if you put the three-point shooting, and you can get to the rim with a floater, I mean, you are literally a full 3-level scoring threat. But the thing was, he just wasn't getting to the basket that much. It kind of plays into what I was saying earlier when it comes to his ball handling. It's something that he needs to grow. He's got the right ideas right now. He just needs to refine these things. And once he's able to refine these things, I mean, if he's able to really refine these things, I am optimistic that he's going to be able to. I might as well just change my name at this point to Basketball Optimism. 10 points per game right now. I mean, I could see a real world in the next 3 seasons where he's averaging over 16 a game. Maybe not even 3 seasons. Not next season. I would not expect him to average 16 next season. But man, that's really just going to come down to if he's able to grow the other parts of his game. Yeah, he's going to be able to shoot the 3 ball, but is he going to be able to get to the basket? Is he going to be able to shoot the mid-range? Is he going to be able to be a positive playmaker? But once you put all those things together, you got a real threat. And the very last thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to the finishing and really just Jaylen Wells in general is I feel like he's got a really bad whistle. He be getting fouled and getting no call. Or even defensively sometimes. I feel like they'll call a foul on him and there's no foul. Oh, and I did forget to mention that defensively, he does get in foul trouble sometimes, but it's like he's guarding elite of the elite offensive players a lot of the time. So it's like, what do you expect? He only averaged 1.8 fouls a game. And there were only a few games throughout the season where he was really in foul trouble. By the way, Grizzlies fans, I've already made multiple Grizzlies videos, so you should go check those out. I did y'all guys second round pick Javon Small this year. I did Cedric Coward. I'm going to do Gigi Jackson in the next couple weeks. I mean, maybe in the next 2 weeks probably. I don't know. I kind of want to space it out. I don't want to just do a whole bunch of Grizzlies stuff right here and then never again. So I want to be able to space it out for y'all a little bit. But yeah, go check out those videos. Link will be in the description of those, or maybe I can, if I remember how to do it, put it up in the right corner up here on the screen. But go check those out. I really like Cedric Coward. I thought Javon Small was incredibly underrated. I only talked about like maybe 5 or 6 rookies from the class, and he was one that I was really impressed with. Now, I already did this in one of my other Grizzlies videos. I don't know which one it was. I think it was the Javon Small video. And this is not the perfect depth chart. I mean, it's a fine depth chart, but it's not great. But I like what I see. I see depth. This is one thing that I've said about the Grizzlies before, that I feel like they were more focused on having 15 guys that can play other than having like 8 or 9 to 10 elite guys in their roles. And that's what I feel like the Grizzlies' problem was last season. You had a bunch of guys that are really solid that could be on other teams, but were sitting on the bench because y'all are so deep. But the guys on the bench are solid, but they're not elite. And now we're getting ads, free promotion. But yeah, we look at the guard rotation. We're looking at Ja Morant, Ty Jerome, one of the most underrated pickups of the whole offseason. Scottie Pippen Jr., really, really great. Cam Spencer, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cedric Coward, John Conchar. We look at the forwards, Jaylen Wells, Vince Williams Jr., Cedric Coward, Gigi Jackson, Santi Aldama, Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark, PJ Hall. And then our big man, Zach Edey. That's one thing that I did want to note. I really wish that the Grizzlies were able to, I'm not saying that Brandon Clark is bad by any means necessary, but he's like 6'8", 6'9". You don't really want him as your backup 5. It would be much better if you had more of a traditional backup 5. But I think Zach Edey is going to keep getting better. I think Cedric Coward is going to be a really great player, plug and play. Really, you could put him on any team and he's going to be able to contribute somewhere. Man, y'all are so nice, bro. Now for the comment of the day. I've never done this before for the comment of the day. You know, I'll pick 1 or 2 comments, you know, somebody that influenced me to make the video, or by the way, if you don't know what the comment of the day is, my favorite comment from the previous video, really I just pick any comment. It's the comment of the day. You know, if I make a Wemby video and someone asks me to do Wemby, I'll give them credit and be like, hey, this guy asked for a Wemby video. I thought it was a great idea, so here's your credit, brother. But I'm not even going to do that today. I just want to shout out y'all. I got so many really nice comments on my last Wemby video. Y'all should check that out. It was 32 minutes. That thing took me 30 hours to make that video. But I'm just going to start throwing them up on the screen, man. I can't even say your name. Young Bowel Steph, I'm sorry I just butchered it. I know I did. Sharpie Man 2035, that was a really kind comment, bro. Moinol, I'm butchering these. I'm sorry. I'm trying to say them. My dad, Ebriel 000, Ishi GZ, Mr. Anderson from France, my boy Style EXE, Philly P, and all y'all guys, man. Every single one of y'all from the last video that left a kind comment, very supportive. I love each and every single one of you. I've probably said this before in one of my recent videos, but the reason that I started this YouTube channel is because, you know, at the time, that was when like everyone was dropping 70 points. It was a little bit before that, but when I was really like starting to really get into it, it was whenever everyone was like dropping 70 points and everyone was dropping 70 points, but yet the media only had bad stuff to say. And I was like, yo, this is stupid. Like, we just need to appreciate this. I remember Joel dropped 70, and then like 2 games later, he didn't play against the Nuggets, and everyone was like, oh, Embiid sucks, he's scared of Jokic. And I'm like, dude, he just dropped 70 points like 2 days ago. Like, yo, we are so quick to forget about greatness and things that happen in our league that are just great. And the reason I started this channel was so we could build a community of people that actually love basketball. Not people that just like love to talk trash about basketball and love to get views off of basketball, but people that actually like basketball and love the NBA. And that's exactly what's happening. And this is how we're able to bring all of these people from different countries and different states and like literally from everywhere around the entire world, you know, to watching some of these videos. No, I don't have no 50K subs. No, I don't have 100K subs. I don't need 100K subs though. I'm happy with this. We got like 5K. I look at my analytics and my audience, and I'll list some of this off because it's just so cool to me. And I just want you guys to see this. I'm from America. I've never been outside of the United States in my life, but only 64% of my viewership is from the United States. We've gotten tens of thousands of views from people in the Philippines, Canada, Australia, the UK, Germany, France, India, Indonesia, Japan, New Zealand, Brazil, South Africa, Singapore, Greece. And it's all because we all just love basketball. I love each and every single one of you that show support frequently on all the videos. I love you all. So thank you guys for your support. It means the world to me. I love you. Jesus Christ loves you. He always has and he always will. Really all I had to talk about today. Our next video, if you made it to the very end, I'll give you a sneak peek into the next episode. We're doing Brandon Miller. I just had 2 or 3 people ask about him, and I was just like, whoa, I can't believe I haven't talked about Brandon Miller yet. Next video is going to be Brandon Miller. After that, we're going to get back into our bag of going into the lower end type guys. I've got a couple guys in mind. I did a community note the other day where I asked videos that you guys wanted to see, so of course you can drop those down below here, but also if you want to go drop those down below in the community notes, go ahead and do that. Let me know any player that you want to see me make a video about, and I will do my best to do that for you if it's somebody that I'm interested in. Again, I typically really only do younger players, but I can do exceptions, of course. Like one guy asked today about Dennis Schroeder, and if I can actually get my hands on his overseas film from what they just did over the last couple weeks, then I really would be excited about doing that. And that would be the only thing that would come before this Brandon Miller, is if I could get my hands on all the overseas film and I would just do what Dennis Schroeder just did overseas. But yeah, man, wrap it up here. Sorry for going on and on and on. I love you so much. Take care of yourself. I'll see y'all very soon, man. Peace out.